We're here on the Million Roses platform, and I just want to thank Mr. Troy Carter for allowing us to do this interview with him.
Praying to the Lord, will it ever stop? So many lives lost to some crooked cops.
A lot of people want to know about the legalization of marijuana, and what would be your standpoint on that?
First of all, I applaud your listeners for being conscious, and I will tell you that I will stand firmly with getting rid of any criminalization of marijuana, legalizing marijuana completely. Many cities have started to go in a soft way on making it a summons instead of an arrestable event, but other states have made it completely legal. So how do we criminalize something that other states are recognizing as legal? How do we have so many young brothers and sisters that are in jail today for a joint? Life-changing. How many times has a police officer pulled by and the tale of two races, two sets of kids? Young black man standing in the corner smoking a joint, cop pulls over, jacks him up, takes him to jail. Young white kid smoking a joint, you roll by as if it didn't happen. Lives go on totally different trajectories because of that one mistake or that one arrest while the other person got a chance. All of our people need a chance. And to criminalize something that's not criminalized in other states, Louisiana has to catch on, and the country has to catch on. You know, we recognize that the whole aspect of legalizing marijuana on the criminal justice side is just one part, but the economy is a whole nother. The opportunity to tax, provide resources for our young people for education, housing, infrastructure, healthcare, the creation of jobs in the farming industry and agriculture. The opportunities for our people to get involved in farming and the dispensary side. There are a lot of resources that come together with legalizing marijuana, not just the criminal side, although the criminal side is huge, because so many of our young people are disproportionately arrested for a joint where others are given a second chance.
I just want to say that I commend you on your stance on the legalization of marijuana, because a lot of people are going to love what you just said. So, and I just kind of want to touch a few more points that I feel a lot of younger people, younger millennials, that they talk about a lot. I see a lot of people speak of reparation, and what would be your standpoint on that?
You know, my biggest issue is how do we quantify it? But I'm 100% for reparations. We've got to figure out, we know that a 40 acres and a mule ain't going to get it in 21. But what is the equivalent of 40 acres and a mule in 2021? We've got to figure out, how do you put a price tag on the price of slavery and the impact that it's had on us psychologically all these years later? The impact that still cuts you and me and many of us in our community. Are we owed something? You're damn right we are. Are we owed reparation? You're damn right we are. We've got to figure out how to get there. But this country owes African Americans a great debt. And we've got to find out how to quantify what reparations look like. But you can believe that your member of Congress will be fighting with you in that quest.
Definitely. That's a great answer. And I believe a lot of people, especially in the state of Louisiana, feel like that we get shunned upon for being not as progressive as they believe that we should be. So what are some ways that we could connect the gap between the older citizens and the younger citizens? Like, what role would you be able to play as far as in that?
Communication. It's just like this. We're not that far apart when we talk, right? When we spend time together, when we communicate, when we're able to listen. My mother always said you got 2 ears, 1 mouth. That's because you listen twice as much as you talk. And if we do a better job at listening to you, we'll understand better. And we can each learn from each other. Some for the path that we've already walked, and some for the path that you walk and that we won't get to walk because we've already passed that stage. But from your vantage point, you see, you feel, you know, you live, you breathe. We need to be a part of that. And so I think at the core of it is our ability to connect and communicate and feel each other's passion. Because at the end of it all, we're one. We are one.
A lot of people amongst my platform are just getting to that transitional point in life to where politics are starting to affect their life. So I just want to hop straight into it, and you kind of just tell us what's so important about this Congress seat.
Well, let me tell you, this race, probably more than any other, for a number of reasons, is so critically important to our community. And it's so important that our people pay attention, engage, and be a part of the solution. When I tell you, our Congressman Cedric Richmond, who recently vacated this seat, is now gone to the White House to be a special advisor to the President of the United States of America. That's huge. From our community, right here in New Orleans, sitting next to the President, advising him on critical issues that are important to us. And now, to have Cedric's endorsement, endorsing me to succeed him in Congress, means the world, man, because that gives us the opportunity to bring resources home, to fight for resources in our community, to fight for resources for education, for community redevelopment, for COVID recovery, not just a vaccination, but also recovery so people can restart their businesses, rebuild their homes, for our young people who've been straddled with debt from going to school, to be able to relieve them of some of that debt so they can immediately get into the workforce instead of becoming the working poor. You got an education, but now you're paying 10% interest back on a loan that you borrowed so you can be a better citizen. We shouldn't do that to our students. We should forgive them for that, give them an opportunity to go buy a house, start a business, be a part of the community. That's what rebuilds an economy.
And what are some of the major points that you'll be backing once, if you were to win this Congress?
Well, I mentioned a couple of them, and the things that are important is making sure that we rebuild our communities. Many people have been hurt significantly by COVID, the worst of which obviously is the loss of life, and many of our people who've lost loved ones. But additionally, many people have lost their jobs, lost their businesses. They have a sense of, I don't know what's going to happen next. We don't know what COVID's going to be. Part of my role as a congressman is to help stabilize that, to bring some hope to our community that things are going to be better. We have to demonstrate, and it means we have to come out like we're doing now. Come out to the community, talk to the people. We can't sit in an ivory tower, way up on high. That's not what government's about. Government's about coming down to the people. I've spent the last 30 years of my life in public service, and I will tell you, I've always flown low. We've done Thanksgiving dinners every year for the last 28 years for the community. We've given toys and bicycles and baby dolls and footballs to kids in the community for the last 30 years. We provided prom dresses for young ladies who otherwise couldn't go. Things like that's a big deal. The importance of that rite of passage, to go to your senior prom, but mom and dad can't afford to buy a dress for you. That's a real deal, and we recognize that. So as a part of that, we've gone in the community and provided dresses so these young ladies can do it. Getting young men, getting them fresh, a haircut and shave, so they can go to the prom also. It's the little things that really touch people's lives that really are the big things. So in Congress, we have the ability to bring funding home for historic neighborhoods like Treme, to make sure that we have the opportunity to maintain the racial balance, to maintain the balance of historic value while still making room for the progressive nature of a community's growth. Making sure that things like New Orleans East, where we've seen the issues with the lack of restaurants and hotels and businesses, fighting to make sure that federal dollars can come into like Jazzland or come into Lincoln Beach. We recently did a tour of Lincoln Beach. Man, it's beautiful.
Right.
And the potential of what it can be in the way of redevelopment, being a catalyst for redevelopment, more homes, property values, restaurants, schools. It all goes hand in hand. You know what happens when you do all that? Crime starts to go down because people are working, because people are enjoying a better life, because people are recognizing that somebody's listening, somebody cares. That's what your congressman can do, and that's what I'll do as a member of Congress, is to go and fight for a living wage. We have $7.25 an hour. $7.25 an hour. Who can live on $7.25 an hour? I have been fighting for years to increase minimum wage, and now going to Congress with the White House, with the House and the Senate, we have the ability to come to a true living wage and affect people's lives on day one. So Malcolm, sitting here talking to you is like me talking to my two sons. I've got two boys that are in that range, 1825. And so when you and I connect, I feel the same passion about you and our others as I do about my two sons, who happen to be two African American boys growing up in a society that doesn't always treat them fairly. So, man, for me, this is personal. This is personal. I wake up every day to make it better, to listen, to fight, to demonstrate, and to be one with a solution. So, listening is very important. I invite you to have your listeners go to our website, www.troycarter4congress.com, and there are multiple clicks they can make. One of which is the listening tour, and to click on and come and invite us to be a part of the discussion like you and I are having. Well, we can just sit on the porch and chill and talk. It makes a difference. And having the opportunity to listen helps us better lead.
Change directions for the same elections. How can we be progressive? They don't teach the lessons. And if we choose rebellion, they gon' leave us.